Tell us a secret Snowflake life hack that nobody knows.
I wanted to be an archaeologist and I ended up being a solution engineer.
At which stage the company should start considering hiring a solution engineer?
They might find the answer faster than what they think.
How to optimize the costs?
The return of investment was around 400% within 6 months.
Man, I was good.
Why you decide to build something on Iceberg?
That this call was amazing. Hi everyone, I'm Dana and welcome to Data Huddle by Yuki team. And this is our podcast where we spotlight the people who actually work with data every day, building great products and leading big teams. These people are not always the loudest voices, but they're exactly the ones who are quietly making everything work and power the products that we use every single day. And today's guest is Matteo Consoli, who leads the solution engineering team at Snowflake. Matteo has over 10 years of technical experience, and he joined Snowflake about 3.5 years ago. What's very impressive, I have to say, because you grew inside the company from an associate to the managerial position in a pretty short time. Before Snowflake, Matteo worked with big brands like Accenture and HP. So he's seen how big names operate from the inside. Matteo, you've spent most of your career in large companies. Accenture, HP, now Snowflake. Do you really enjoy big corporations, or it's just how your path unfolded?
Yeah, it's a mix of both, I assume. First thing first, hi everyone, Matteo speaking here. Yeah, I mean, it's probably how the path unfolded initially. So yeah, as you said, I started as a Java developer, so I was not even a data guy at the very beginning. I was rather coding in Java, all those classes, and maybe playing with Hibernate and a few other frameworks on the Java side. Then moved into HP, pretty much into telco domain. So I've been working with a lot of big telcos around Europe and the world for 5 years, more or less. So maybe when I had enough of working with big corporates, that's where I ended up in Snowflake working for the commercial business. So what I'm doing nowadays and what I've been doing in the last 3.5 years is actually supporting startup and scale up, on how to drive their data strategy, leveraging Snowflake, of course. But yeah, probably that's the nice angle that I like about Snowflake and my career now at Snowflake. That yes, I'm now working for a big corporate like Snowflake. It has been growing a lot, and now we have probably more than 10, 12,000 employees. But still, I can keep a very strong relationship with the startups out there and see how they can get the best out of Snowflake.
And do you see yourself somehow like joining the real startup and being part of it? Or you see yourself in the future also as part of the big company?
That's a good question. Not sure. I mean, I feel like I love how I'm driving the value right now for the startups and the partners I'm working with in my current position. Building a startup is a tough job. You really need to have a lot of attributes, let's say, to build from the ground up a startup. Not sure if I will be the best candidate for that. Definitely, can be a nice gig to do someday, but probably not today, probably not in the near future. I still see myself leading some solution engineering organization in the for today and the near future as well.
What was the most important skill that helped you move so quickly from being an associate at Snowflake to being a manager?
I think, it's not just about myself. I believe what a good SC looks like at Snowflake, and I believe also in other companies, can probably be resumed in 3 distinct skills or way of mentality things. So one is definitely the curiosity. Even if you think of what was Snowflake 4 years back and the kind of infrastructure and platform I was selling 4 years back is way different from what it is nowadays. Nowadays, we have a full data platform that can power any kind of workload, from the data engineering from up to Gen AI. When I joined, we were just releasing Snowpark and we were barely able to run Python code in Snowflake. So it changed a lot in the last 4 years. And without curiosity, it's very tricky to get yourself up to speed and keep yourself up to speed on all the latest trends on the product side, on the market side, on the IT in general. And also the curiosity to understand what the customer really needs. It's not just for your own personal development, but it's also to really understand what's the customer need and try to uncover which are the pains, the business objectives, where they want to get, and if the product you are selling can be a good fit or not for this customer in particular. So curiosity, top one. So the second one is just a good sense of ownership of the pipeline. Of course, we are in the front line. We work mainly with with account executives, and they are really the forefront of a sales organization. A lot of weight is in their shoulders. And I think the best SE is the one that really is co-driving the pipeline with the account executives. And the last but not least, definitely not least, is being a natural team player. When we are in a sales organization, especially when we are in a solution engineering organization, the individual success is rarely a team success. You need to be a natural team player. You need to help everyone out there. You need to be able to get some help from everyone as well, wherever you need, whenever you realize that you have some limits you need to tackle. To be, impactful for your customers.
I mean, personally, I love the skill called curiosity that you named. Being curious and being proactive is definitely the skill of the future leader. In order to survive in such a big, huge company as Snowflake, I believe that you have to be very, very hard on managing your own timetable and schedule. How do you structure your day? I mean, how your day-to-day routine looks like at Snowflake?
Specifically talking about the commercial segment, meaning working with startup and scale up. Most of the time, the kind of segment I'm working on is a very fast-paced, high-velocity, high-volume business, where maybe solution engineers throughout a single day are talking with 4 or 5 different customers in different stage of a sales process, of a validation process from the customer end. So they might be running some demos, then there might be maybe some POC, proof of concept check-in. There might be some technical discovery, so an early stage in the sales process, trying to understand if actually Snowflake can be a good fit or not for their needs.
What is your main focus for your team? How Snowflake as an organization is prioritizing the focuses for solution engineering direction? I mean, what's in the pipeline? What's your bet? What will be the most important thing for you to do or to improve in 2026?
I mean, from a product perspective, Snowflake is definitely pioneering, the Gen AI and AI workload, and that's been also a big focus for solution engineers. So what we are trying to do more and more, or more than what we used to do in the previous years, I would say. So that's maybe a focus for the next fiscal year, more than what we have been doing in the past, is to really try to uncover what's the business value behind some Gen AI or AI use cases that our customers might have. And then when it comes to, Snowflake is a consumption-based business. The customer can purchase a certain amount of credits, and then they can use those credits throughout the year to run queries and do other stuff. Most of the time, the Gen AI use case or the AI use case is not going to be the very first one that they are going to implement, because they need first a data strategy. So that's still focus and still central to make sure that we are building bottom up the perfect data strategy that then can power also some Gen AI workloads in the future or even in the near future. But I believe what the solution engineering organization is trying to do now more and more is can be divided in 2 aspects. The first one is how to leverage at the best the Gen AI for our own job, how to make it impactful, from how this is shaping the new what we are doing day by day, and also how this can be beneficial for our customers. So trying to be an expert on the different industries that we can operate with of our Gen AI, what Gen AI can bring to that specific customer, to that specific industry.
Since Yuki is still at the startup phase, I'm interested in your opinion. When do you think, at which stage the company should start considering hiring a solution engineer to the team? When it's like super important to start thinking about it and start implementing it?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. I don't know if I have a good answer for that, honestly. We mentioned before if I will ever open a startup. Yeah, that's probably a question I should ask myself if I have a startup.
No,
Now,
but you're working with a lot of startups,
yeah,
as
no,
you
no,
mentioned. So.
very good question. We see, for example, a lot of super early stage startups where the CEO or the CTO are just jumping on customer calls with the account executives and trying to, answer and understand what could be a future state architecture for this customer leveraging the product XYZ. So there is a lot, that is driven by C-suite level in terms of solution engineering effort at the very beginning for an early stage startup. It probably also depends from the complexity of the product that the startup is selling, right? There are products that, account executives without strong technical background are able to understand how to position, how to demo, how to put in the architecture that are maybe super easy to plug and play. So there are those kind of products where you can be without a solution engineer for fairly long time. And maybe also once you have a solution engineer are more acting as a specialist that you are calling for very niche use cases where things are a bit challenging, but most of the time the AE can do it by himself or by herself.
But in order to build a successful business to scale quickly, it's obvious that the CTO and CEO cannot, they have other things to focus. What is the signal for the company that it's time? Like we're mature enough to hire the solution engineer?
Yeah, probably there are some risk signals that can come internally, meaning that there are points where maybe the product is becoming so big that account executives are not able to fully explain what's the value behind it, or maybe are becoming so niche. Sometimes startups starts with an idea, and then the idea is changing rapidly and it's adapting to what the market needs. So you go through a certain amount of experiments, then the one that it works is going to be the one that you're going to build your beta product on top. And if that beta product is fairly complex, ultimately, then in order to really understand how to position it, where to position it, how to really explain the value that specific technical solution can bring to the customer, that's where you might need a solution engineer.
That makes sense. That's yeah, absolutely. Matteo, with all this hype that is still happening around AI, and I feel like it's every single year it's becoming louder and louder. How do you see your role as a solution engineer changing with this AI wave?
A lot. A lot is the short answer. The long answer is a lot. Why? I was discussing with the colleague a few days back of how, for example, for me, when I was an SE 4 years back, running customized demo for customer would require me, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, even a week to prepare, to generate the data, then start building, the data model, then trying to build some dashboards on top or whatever was at that time the fancy and the wow thing to show to the customer. Now things can get done pretty quickly. I mean, if you want to build a customized demo tailored on a specific use case for a specific industry and a specific persona, that's probably going to take, I don't know, 10 minutes, half an hour, let's say 1 hour, if you really want to fine tune it a bit more and trying to make it as personalized as possible. So, for a solution engineers, we are moving from the mindset of showing up in customer meeting, telling what's the value that a platform can build, to showing up to a meeting and showing more and more what's the value that a platform can build. So everything is becoming a bit more visual. Even the customers are changing, because everybody's aware that Gen AI is a thing. So there is the expectation that they can see something. So, the 10 slides that we were used to present maybe a few days back, probably they are still valuable, but there is some kind of expectations from the customer end where they need some visuals, because now everything is becoming more and more visual, or maybe we are coming back to get everything more and more visual thanks to Gen AI. Probably was a thing also, I don't know, 20 years ago. And now it's back again.
What I hear is that you try to show a lot, and as far as I understand, it's not the presentation and the slides, but it's actually the product and how it looks like and which value it can bring. When the call with the prospect is finished, what is the criteria for you that this call was amazing?
Yes, maybe just one point to clarify. It's not about just showing the platform and okay, let's go and work through the platform. Before running, for example, a demo, there is probably a discovery phase, a technical discovery phase. We are collecting which are all the use cases. We need to collect which are the business objectives of the company, the technical challenges that they are facing nowadays. And based on what we know, on what we collected, probably a good next step will be maybe, okay, let me walk you through on how we can solve those technical challenges and how this platform can bring you from X to Z.
You mentioned that to prepare for the demo call, it takes you less time than it took you 3-4 years ago. So you mentioned the AI tools that you're using. You as a technical person, which AI tools do you use on a daily basis?
Of course, either in the personal life or in a professional life. So I'm mixing a bit of both. So I'm mentioning the tools that I'm using in my personal life or tools that I'm using in my more professional life. Tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, I feel like I'm using them every hour of my life continuously. Then, of course, when it comes from a technical perspective, I'm using a lot of Cursor, of course. And I'm also using now more and more Snowflake Cortex code. I mean, I don't want to pitch my product, but it's the new feature that we have in Snowflake that is really able to build Snowflake data pipelines, dashboards, and applications with a very small amount of errors, almost none. So he's very well trained on the Snowflake knowledge. And for me, being working at Snowflake, it's even better than other tool like Cursor and so on, because I don't really need to iterate over the code multiple times to fix things, but he's very well capable of building stuff on Snowflake on my behalf. When it comes to demo, now we are leveraging a lot Snowflake Cortex code.
When it comes to Snowflake cost optimization, I think this is the hottest topic around any technical community of people who are using Snowflake. How to optimize the costs? What are the 3 must-have standards you'd put in place as for any data team to keep your costs predictable?
Leveraging Yuki could be one of them, probably. That's also That's also a good optimization best practice. There are, of course, built-in some Snowflake features, that you can leverage it from a monitoring and a cost control perspective. Setting up resource monitors that can be set at account or at warehouse level. So the more granular you have your compute layer, the more you can set a specific resource monitor for each one of your workload. I mean, it's just that it's a complex one because not all the optimization process are applicable on all the different data strategies that you apply, right? So according to what kind of data strategy you have in place, you might have different cost optimization. I mean, another one that is very obvious but worth mentioning is probably setting up the auto suspend on your virtual warehouse.
Thank you for the technical clarifications, but in general, I really like your idea that depending on the use case, you're not trying to sell like a general solution for everybody. But what I'm hearing is that you're trying to identify the pain of the specific business, because to be honest, every business is very different. Even if the domain is the same, you should adapt and find the solutions based on the business goal, to be honest.
Yeah, it's also on the data model that you have in place because yeah, it's very simple example. The clustering as a technique, maybe it's not recommended if you have a small amount of data. That's not really beneficial. So you wouldn't spend cloud service cost on clustering when your data set is small. Maybe you will opt for other optimization practices rather than the clustering. So it's about the business, it's about the data model. But yeah, definitely
Absolutely.
there are a few optimization best practices.
I want to take advantage of your expertise in data, and I want to speak with you about the iceberg that is very, very hyped right now. First of all, what's your attitude toward this hype around iceberg?
I think it makes a lot of sense. Absolutely, yes. That's my personal opinion, of course, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And again, I might be a bit boring, but then it depends. I mean, if we want to implement everything on iceberg at any cost, not knowing why we are doing it on iceberg, then probably I will question and I will challenge someone. Okay, or why you decide to build something on iceberg? But definitely, it's having an open table format that can work with different platforms and can interconnect with different platforms, and having your data consolidated in one single place that is accessible by everyone. I think it's great. And also from a vendor lock-in perspective, the ability of having a platform, an open format that will allow you to switch around from different providers, that's great as well. Is it worth starting from day zero, putting everything on iceberg when maybe you have just one data platform and just one system to connect together? Well, probably at that case, no, that's a bit an overkill, right? At least from my personal experience. But what is very important probably is to choose whenever you're choosing something, especially at the beginning, when you are in the experimentation phase of your startup, it's probably worth trying to pick up the tools and platforms that will allow eventually one day to migrate to Iceberg if you need to.
Matteo, and speaking about the data market in general, what we see right now is that companies, any kind of company, they're trying to scale, they're trying to adapt new technology and build very complicated and interesting products. But from the data perspective, how to structure your data team, your engineering team, like you can deliver the highest quality results, the highest quality products. What do you think?
Sometimes we are talking with some customers where the data team maybe has some idea, some strategies in mind. They want to implement X, Y, Z. They want to build the new data platforms. They want to, I don't know, they want to migrate from an old on-prem solution to cloud. But then what's sometimes missing, and when they are not able to secure the budget, for example, for that migration project, is what's the business value out of it? What's the story behind it? Because and the same would apply also for those Gen AI and AI workload. Once the hype is over, everybody will sit down a second, and the CEO, CFO, CTO, everybody will start asking, okay, but what's the value? We are getting 10% extra accuracy on our model. We train, okay, that's great, but what does it mean at 10 accuracy more from a business perspective? Does it mean that I'm selling 10% more next year? Does it mean that I can fire 10% of my workforce? What does it mean that 10%? So sometimes being able to translate the 10% accuracy or the new data model that we want to implement into a business value, that's what data team needs to start carrying off. So probably it's worth adding those kind of skill set in a data engineering team, people that are able to communicate what's the business value behind a technical decision, a data strategy, and so on.
Yeah. Speaking about soft skills and hard skills, I want to dive deeper into your personality with a few more questions.
Okay.
What was your biggest failure through your whole career path?
Biggest failure. I think there was a project that I was working a few years back with a big customers, big telco customers. It was extremely challenging because the thing we missed the most was gathering exactly which were the customer requirements. We were implementing some stuff, was time to deliver them. So before getting things in production, we were running those user acceptance tests. And during the user acceptance test, we were getting that, okay, this is not what they really wanted. And it was like this for months, probably for a year.
Wow.
Probably because the requirement phase, we didn't manage to get clearly what the customer really wanted at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very focused on making sure that technically the things were working fine, but whatever we were building, but that's not what they needed. So it was great, was working, but not how they wanted.
And I assume that it was very emotionally difficult to always hear the answer like, no, we don't like it. It's not what we expect.
Of course. And, as we can get pressure on a vendor side, on a consultant side, also internal stakeholders are getting pressure, right? So definitely the pressure was quite high that time.
And let's put some sugar on it. What are you proud of? I'm not speaking about the Snowflake career. So maybe something that's the project or the client or anything that you're like, you remember it right now and say, wow, man, I was good.
Yeah, really the project I'm mostly proud of has been another project with a telco operator, this time in Egypt. So I've been flying like once per month for around a year, maybe slightly more. So I've been like 10, 12 times in Egypt in a shorter time frame a few years back to deliver end-to-end a new fraud detection solution for this customer where they didn't have, let's say, an automated fraud detection solution yet at that time. And in a year and a half, we managed to build this solution for them, this product for them, and they were even able to show after a few months from the go live in production. We invited them for kind of a user forum, and in front of a lot of other customers, they were showing how the return of investment was around 400% within 6 months.
Wow.
So for them was extremely valuable, and for me was pretty exciting because I was like 24 years old. I was flying 1 week per month in Egypt, beautiful country. When I was young, I wanted to be an archaeologist. So for me, it was like, okay, that's my dream. I'm not, being an archaeologist there, but I'm still in Egypt, so it's something. So it was probably one of the best time of my career.
Interesting about the archaeological interest. And right now you're also working with data, but another type of data completely.
Yeah, that's life. Yeah. That's why you were asking me if it's sometimes if it's just life bringing you on big corporates or startups or so on. Well, I wanted to be an archaeologist and I ended up being a solution engineer. So life sometimes drive us.
Matteo, you're not that old. Maybe in 10, 15 years, we will find you in Egypt or in Italy working as an archaeologist.
That's a plan. I like the plan. Sounds good.
Matteo, at the end of our conversation, I've prepared a ping pong format for us.
Okay.
Quick answer, quick question, quick answer. Don't overthink.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm Italian, so making things short is very difficult for me, but I'll try. That's the challenge of the day for me. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, let's go. What's the most annoying meeting in your calendar?
When I have to do the expense report.
Which advice would you give your future self 5 years from now?
Don't worry too much.
What do you never compromise on during a demo?
The quality of the conversation.
I feel like you want to say something more.
No, I cannot. It's just 3 words, so I'm trying to stick to 3 words.
Okay. In 2026, I, meaning Matteo, definitely want to try
doing again some sports. My wife asked that I should start doing some sports again.
One rule you live by.
What we do is more important than what we say.
And the last one, a bit tricky one. Tell us a secret, not about Snowflake, but tell us a secret Snowflake life hack that nobody knows. There are a lot of them, I assume.
Yeah, no, it's probably that, people that are using Snowflake every day building production solutions might know more than me, probably. They're more expert than me on those life hack. What can be? Support team is very good. Reach out, open support tickets when there are some questions. People are not leveraging it enough. They might find the answer faster than what they think.
Wow. Amazing. Matteo, thank you very, very much for your time and for this conversation. I think it was fantastic. It was very you. It was about your expertise and about your fascinating career path. Matteo Consoli was with us today, the solutions engineer from Snowflake. Matteo, where people can follow you and read more about what you're doing?
They can definitely follow me on LinkedIn. I used to have also a Medium blog post, not very active anymore at the moment, but yeah, either LinkedIn or Medium, I'm there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks everyone.